Hello everybody! Today we're going to talk about an episode from Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. And I must say, the ending of this episode, or rather the villain, makes no sense. But before we talk about the ending, we must start at the beginning. And before we start, just so you know, spoilers. Alright, now the episode starts with Scooby-Doo being sick. And because of that, they can't go to Mystery Solving Club State Finals, which is also the title of this episode. But Scooby says that they can go without him, and then Velma says that they can't go without their sidekick. And that makes Scooby sad. Daphne tries to save the situation, but it doesn't work. And after that, they leave and Scooby falls asleep, while believing that he's only a sidekick. And now the episode really begins. Because it's all a dream. Scooby's dream. And in this dream, he's not sick anymore. And the gang all change back into their original looks. Now, I know some people like the Mistery Incorporated designs a lot, but I think the classic look works so much better. I mean, sorry Velma, but these red bow tie looking hairpins? Just no. So unnecessary. I know they wanted to differentiate with the other designs, but still, no. And I guess Scooby-Doo feels the same. He also likes their old design better. I mean, it is his dream, you know. Anyway, the gang arrive at the state finals. And it's basically a big crossover event of some of the most iconic Hanna-Barbera mystery solving sidekicks. We've got the Funky Phantom, Speed Buggy, Captain Caveman, and Jabberjaw. And as you will see, they fit perfectly into this episode. Everybody has their part to play, and that was obviously why they were also chosen. Okay, now that everybody's here, it's time to solve a mystery, to see who the best solving mystery solvers are. But then the monster of this episode appears, Lord Infernicus, and kidnaps everybody. Except for the sidekicks, DJ Angel and Principal Quinlan. Lord Infernicus then told them that communications to the outside world was cut, and that everybody is hidden somewhere in this building, and that they have until sunrise to find them. Or die trying. No, he didn't say that. However, death could have been a possibility. You'll see why. But he did also say that they are not allowed to leave the building. Now, after Jabberjaw panics a little, for the first time today, it's time to split up. Like you do in Scooby-Doo. Speed Buggy, the DJ and the principal are going to try to repair communications, and the others, Scooby-Doo, Captain Caveman, Jabberjaw and the Funky Phantom, are going to try and find their friends. Scooby finds a clue, and the Funky Phantom is like, that could be anything. And while saying that, Scooby-Doo and the others already followed the clue. And thanks to that, they find everybody. But they have turned into guinea pigs. Or did they? Because Scooby is not so sure about that. He thinks something's wrong. And that they found them too early. And he also questions why guinea pigs. However, the Funky Phantom's like, it's all plain to see that it is what it is. So he's going to the library and find a way to change them back. And he's also not questioning what is going on. Suspicious. It seems like he didn't want to find them. Or maybe he didn't want Scooby to find them. They do quarrel about that. But Funky Phantom wins, so he's the leader now. And he is going to solve this mystery. So like I said, he goes to the library. And just as he turns the corner, Lord Infernicus appears. And then after he threatens them, he disappears. And after Jabberjaw's third panic attack, they find a clue to this mystery. It leads outside the building. Now you may think, what? But the bad guy said they have to solve the mystery inside the building, and that the friends are inside it. So why is the clue pointing to outside then? Well, the reason is obvious. Lord Infernicus wants them to solve the mystery inside the building because their friends are not inside at all. Shocking, isn't it? The villain being a liar? No. I'm shocked, I say. He's not truthful. Because he doesn't want them to solve the mystery. He wants them trapped inside so his evil plan can unfold. Without anyone getting in the way. Alright, now that they have the clue, it's time to track down the other team. But where's Funky Phantom? I wonder what Lord Infernicus did to him after he rounded that corner. I wonder. While that was all going on, the other team went to try and get communications running, which in the end was unnecessary. But hey, it's a Scooby-Doo episode, so of course the group had to split up. And for that, they had to do something. Now, before they find the tower, the principal said something really weird. That was totally out of left field. I was like, what? She was complimenting the DJ. That she was really robust, like the female wrestlers on TV, except less veiny. What? Why was that necessary? Maybe to show that she's weird? I don't know. Weird choice. But anyway, they find the jammer. But then Lord Infernicus shows up again, attacks them, and thanks to that, they end up falling from the tower through the roof, straight into the swimming pool. Because of Speed Buggy, they don't die. And he also saves the principal from drowning, off screen. But it did happen, or she wouldn't have mentioned it. But then he almost dies. But don't worry, DJ's on it. She's giving him a hot massage, and the principal is giving him sort of mouth-to-mouth. As you do all that with an anthropomorphic car. And then Speed Buggy is safe thanks to them. And that totally changes the principal's personality. And instead of her being scared and insecure, she becomes bold and confident. She loses the glasses and has her head on. Now, the that's over and done with, and communications are up and running, they can finally call for help. But the phone is dead. But don't worry, the principal has some confiscated phones in her office. Which is really weird, because after school you have to give them back. But it's a dream, so anything's possible. So off to the office they go, with now her in charge. Before she was backseat driving, now she's the main driver, and she's loving it. Okay, now, they meet up with the others and compare notes. And after their failed attempt to get help from the sheriff, they go to the docks. And now it's Jabberjaw and Captain Caveman's turn. Now, after those two shipwreck Lord Infernicus, he tries to escape with a truck. And on that truck, in crates, there are the mystery solvers. And now they really know that the guinea pigs are not their friends. I mean, hey, they still could have been. Anything is possible. And now the principal is gonna stop the truck by throwing the guinea pigs at the windshield. An insane move. But hey, it worked, so there's that. Principal Quinlan strikes again. Alright, we finally get to the ending, where we find out the real identity of the villain. And the villain is the Funky Phantom. Now we got to the part that doesn't make sense. We find out that Funky Phantom is not a phantom. No, he's not a ghost. He's just an actor. Jonathan Wellington Muddlemore. That's also his name in his show. And he now talks with his voice. Not the Funky Phantom one.
I'm not a real ghost. I'm Jonathan Wellington Muddlemore. Actor.
In the dream, in reality, that is his voice, you know. Now, it begs the question, how was he flying and floating then, if he's not a ghost? And I don't only mean on this night, at the finals. His ghost life started after his friends found him in an old grandfather clock. The only reason he was in there was because he was behind his rent and a friend told him about this grandfather clock and he was just staying there then. And when he met his friends, he went through the time display. Not where the pendulum swings. If he was not a ghost, he would have stepped out of the case, where the pendulum swings. He wouldn't have gone through the time display, you know? Because that is solid. Where the pendulum swings, you could maybe hide inside. It has room, you know? That's why him not being a ghost makes no sense. Really, it doesn't. How did he go through walls and such? But like I said, everybody in this episode has a part to play. And his part was the villain. And they had to invent a reason why he is one. And the reason for that was because he didn't want to be a sidekick no more. He wanted to be the leader and have his own sidekicks. And Mystery Gang probably too. They didn't say that, but it's a given. But he could have also wished that while being a ghost too, you know? Him being a ghost wouldn't have been an obstacle. Well, for his dream, he invented Lord Infernicus. And his master plan was that he wanted to ship everybody to Africa. Because they don't have enough teenage mystery solvers there. However, that's a silly plan. Because they can always come back from there. Or maybe they would have never arrived alive. Because Fred did say, after they saved them, that the boxes they were in were stuffy. So who knows how long they would still have to breathe before they didn't breathe no more. And also, poor Boo.
I even abducted my own cat, Boo.
You think you know a guy.
You lied to me.
Now, the sidekicks showed that they are not just that, but that they are mystery solvers too. But I don't think that they are really just sidekicks, because everybody in the mystery solving gangs try to uncover the truth about the mysteries they face. And I mean, how can you be a sidekick if you're way more known as the others in the gang? But that doesn't really matter, because they are a team, so they are all equals. Just that at times, some are more helpful than the others. Now, Scooby wakes up and finds out that it is all a dream. And he thinks that they all went without him, because he still thinks they think he's a sidekick. But then they tell him that he's part of the team and not just a sidekick, and that they would never go without him to the finals. And Scooby-Doo believes them, because it is the truth. And yes, Fred is really sad about the fact that they couldn't go to the finals.
I still can't believe it. Why?
But what he doesn't know is, because Scooby-Doo is sick, the finals were postponed. So when he finds out, he will be overjoyed. Now, we have already seen that the other mystery solvers are not part of this show. Or this world even. They are only toys. Or are they? And the toys are actually replicas of the most popular members of the mystery gangs. You never know. But where is Funky Phantom? Well, we see that he is human and he is the chairman. And because he's the chairman, he wanted to see how Scooby is feeling. And Scooby is really scared.
Friends to Delaware? Was it something I said?
Because he looks like Funky Phantom. And the reason for that is probably because he had to have seen him on the side for the competition. Because he's the chairman after all. So yeah, that was the episode. And yes, I know that's only Scooby's dream. But either way, Funky Phantom not being a ghost, that makes no sense. Dream or not, And Funky Phantom is more like the chairman was in personality than in Scooby's dream, obviously. I mean, he would never want to get rid of his friends. The bad guy should have had another reason for wanting to get rid of the mystery solvers. I think it should have been someone else. Like some maybe obscure mystery solver. Like Butch Cassidy from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids. Not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but maybe his reason for being the villain here would have been because he was sad that him and his friends weren't invited to this competition. And then after the reveal, everybody's like, who's that? Because he's so obscure that nobody knows him. And that would be also a big reason why he's the villain here. And then he would, ship them to Africa, even though, like I said, makes no sense because they can come back. But then he and his friends would be the only mystery solvers in the country. That would make way more sense than Funky Phantom not being a ghost. Or who do you think should have been the villain, and why? Which other mystery solver should it have been instead? Or was Funky Phantom the right choice? And if you made it till the end, it would be really nice if you liked and subscribed. That would be really much appreciated. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching and until next time. See ya!